Welcome back also. Now, so it looks like we're gonna go into Undertow zones. We're gonna have the interesting zones stuff, right? But like this map actually did recently get reworked. We have another Zipcaster coming out from both sides actually. To be fair, that we do have the Stamper on both sides, which is actually a really strong main weapon. Strikes on, it looks like double whale actually on the side of Honored Ones. So this is a really interesting comp as Honored Ones gets an early cap on the left zone, loses out on that left zone. However, Jackpot coming in strong, getting an easy pick on Scar, Leafy does. Getting a double on Zeres, pushing forward, trying to push them all the way back. Gets them back just a little bit as it's only Scar up on the side of Honored Ones.
Jackpot does have a very strong initial hold on the area, as they've shown to have continuously, especially in the last set as well. Just Madness taking up camp on their glass, unfortunately getting picked off, leaving Honored Ones to move back in. But unfortunately, they go 3 down. The .Q being the one to hold down the fort, jumping out, preserving their life for a little bit longer.
Zera's getting a great pick on the splash on Jackpot. Actually, 2 going on Jackpot actually, which is really good, a really good look for Honored Ones as they're just gonna try and hold the zone. Madness up here is trying to build some strikes to get their team back into a good spot. However, even though the Jackpot is 2 down, it's not going to stop them from playing a little aggressively here. You know, Madness ends up going down, but that doesn't mean that Jackpot is in a bad position at any point, as Leafy gets an easy double here, barely dying to the jump in, as again, this Zeres is just going to try and hold this space. This is an excellent play from both Stampers on both teams.
But yet again, another example of why Bucket is so good on those corners and ledges. Able to pick off that Stamper and make a really aggressive push into mid, taking a ton of space from the Honored Ones.
Right? Honored Ones is on the back foot though, as their teammates are starting to go down one after another. Even though you die with Cooler, you still die and you will lose a little bit of space. And it will even be made worse if you get wiped. That being said, it does look like Zeres is going to be holding the fort down on their snipe. Just, you know, trying to make sure that Jackpot doesn't get any more space than they deserve. And Leafy is trying to skirmish here. Gets picked. Zeres does end up going down, but that's basically a 3v3 situation here, as now Honored Ones gets to push back into mid and gets a nice pick on Leafy again. They have 20 seconds left though. Honor Bounds needs to make a play happen here. They're 4 up, just getting pressured off that snipe, unable to even get their footing in mid, as Jackpot is just scrapping over and over and over again, trying to drive them out. Timer's ticking again as, ooh, they get control of one zone. The other zone, it's 66-6 right now, Retro.
I'm just impressed. A very, very crucial cap at the end there. Managing to take the zone right at the perfect time, because if that counter had gone down anymore, it was well over. However, the Honored Ones are not down and out yet, continuously ticking down through their penalty even. Just getting those points run through.
Crab comes out on the side of... Crab comes out on the side of Jackpot. They end up going down, though, to Zeres, as they're just going to be trying to hold the zone, Honored Ones. A lot of them are in snipe, and we have Zeres here with this zip, just, you know, keeping them out. Ooh, Leafy gets the pick, though, on an unaware Zeres jumping back. Looks like now they're below 15 seconds, so all they need to do is hold 10 more ticks of this zone, and down goes .Q, down goes Madness. Scar is popping off in zone right now, just holding this left zone from the relentless attack of Jackpot. They still need to get their penalty, but they get wiped, and Jackpot ends up taking this zone back at the best moment possible.
The Honored Ones now have a decent amount of penalty to work through, and there's only about 20 seconds left. They are fighting for that left zone. They're rapid, trying to get a few picks from their glass. Unfortunately, the crab comes out on the side of Jackpot, just pressuring that glass even more, forcing the Honored Ones out of their high ground and onto a more even playing field with Jackpot.
Looks like Zera's trying their best to fight it out, get this zone back. They need to cap during overtime, but Leafy is on that cooler, stopping teammates from getting to the zone. They cap it, but at what cost? It's just Scar, and Scar can't paint the square fast enough as Jackpot takes game 1. It was a very intense game. That was essentially, Jackpot actually got pushed back pretty far by Scar, and going even 3 down in zone 2, Scar, and just running forward, they were still able to get back that zone with barely any, like, with just 10 ticks to go. It was very difficult for Honored Ones to be able to push back in, but they do, and they just can't hold it for very long. That was a very intense game, Retro.
It was. Well, both teams played very well, and their aggression levels were extremely impressive. Being able to keep those key areas for such a long time, even against Jackpot, just I have like so few words right now.
I have a few words. My words are, the current map is now Splat Zone's Barnacle. We have discussed, right, if you get into that top left, top right area, essentially you can choke out the other team, and you can make this a really fast 100-0 if either team can get up there, and both teams have shown that they have the ability to do that, so. A lot of last ditch on the side. They actually have Gambit on Obito. I think this is a normal thing for them to be running, actually. But they do, unfortunately, go 2 down. Leafy gets picked on the side of Jackpot as they're moving into zone. Scar is just trying to scrap out and not die to this bucket. Ends up having to jump out, but it's fine because their teammates are now finally back in mid. Jackpot, even though they hold this zone, they're getting pushed out of it pretty quickly. 1 down to on their side, but that's not going to stop them from letting go of this chokehold that they have on this zone.
The strikes come out as well to really just seal the deal. It's that Stamper just tries to zip and take out .Q, unfortunately not getting the pick and getting picked off themselves, but .Q is the last in, and Jackpot gets wiped by the Honored Ones.
It looks like Honored Ones is now trying to take extra space as they end up getting into that top left, easily picking anybody who comes in. This might be game sealing because now Jackpot needs to remove the members of Honored Ones from their top left. Madness ends up being able to take control back of that area, getting strikes in, getting an easy triple on that zone as it's just Obito trying and scrapping out. Their teammates are jumping to them, but it might not be enough as, ooh, Zeros gets a crazy trade. It's just Scar now, and Scar needs to win against Madness, and it needs to win against Leafy in order to keep this spot, and they just can't. Backing up for their teammates in order to get space. Ooh, and unfortunately gets picked.
The Crab and Zipcaster combo coming out very strong, very aggressive, as the Honored Ones try to take at least a little bit of high ground, dropping into their pit and trying to fight an uphill battle against Jackpot, which just doesn't end up working, as they have a lot of resources and a lot of crucial space that the Honored Ones just can't seem to take back. A lot of whales coming out, strikes coming out from the side of Jackpot. They just have an extremely strong hold on their plot. 3 going down on the side of the Honored Ones. It is game, unfortunately.
That was so intense because Honored Ones takes that zone, gets that lead, gets into the area around top left, but can't hold it, ends up having to leave, and then unfortunately they just get doubled, like jumping back into zone. And I love their cooler play, right? I love that whenever they pop a cooler, they'll jump to their teammates, they'll jump back to spawn, and this allows for really quick rotation for all the members of their team. But this still won't stop them from dying to Jackpot when they take control of their plat. And every time they try to push in, they can't. Like scrambling, especially at the end, there wasn't a lot that they could do.
Jackpot has shown to be very efficient at just taking out enemy players before they can even get their entry specials back in. And like the timer ticking down just really adds to just the stress levels, and the intimidation of already going against such a big powerhouse can really wreck someone's nerves. So I actually find it really impressive how the Honored Ones are seeming to keep it together quite well. And like just
Well, keep in mind, right, for these guys, these are their peers, right? So, like, a lot of these players, like, they've been used to at least fighting in or around, like, players like Jackpot, right? So it's not like, you know, the nerve, like, obviously there is nerves because this is winner's bracket, but they have to be able to remember to calm themselves, because even if they lose here, they will still have to go back down through losers. We are going to be seeing this next game go to Splat Zone's Mahi, which was a really quick pick on the side of Honor Ones. Hopefully, you know, they will be able to bring back this game for themselves, right? They might even bring back that double whale comp. Like, we've seen how that can pop off really easily.
and the double wheel does come back.
Oh, I love the double wheel comp. It's so fun, right? It's just so much fun. Oh, and we can see almost actually gets this, Gray actually almost gets this angle shooter kill on one of the members of Jackpot. Looks like their Stamper ends up going down though on both sides. And now this crab is just doing so much work for Jackpot that it ends up forcing Honored Ones all the way back into their spawn.
Jackpot does have another very aggressive hold, as like they have consistently in the previous games. However, Honored Ones are making another push back in, just going in with that Zipcaster, distracting Jackpot, getting a pick on their pencil as they just spawn in, really just allowing their team to knock through those points and actually maybe taking lead here. The strikes come out, Honored Ones do end up taking the lead.
Looks like, yeah, we do have a lead swap coming in here as Madness is unable to, like, remove players from their islands. That being said, Honored Ones does go players down. Scar is trying to build this cooler here for their team as this Zipcaster comes out from Leafy. Gets the pick but loses the zone. There is 38 ticks on the zone left. Unfortunately, Gray goes down to a stray bomb, and Madness is unable to make a lot of pushback from their position. But Jackpot is still able to get this zone. Xera's actually ends up rushing into zone a little bit and dying. It's just scrap after scrap after scrap. Both teams are trying to get anything they can, and it looks like Jackpot is now coming in on top.
2 down on the side of Honored Ones. The cooler comes out, however, so they are going to be able to make another pushback in once they get those whales maybe, and the Zipcaster coming out to possibly distract Jackpot a little bit. Yep. Zone being tossed back and forth again. 2 going down on the side of Jackpot. The Zipcaster just trying to distract the pencil and maybe get a pick. Unfortunately does not, as the pencil does have cooler again. This is a pretty good position for the Honored Ones as they are ticking through their penalty yet again, and the lead isn't that far off.
Right? Looks like Leafy is actually trying their best to clear their areas. Probably isn't able to as they end up going in the water. That doesn't matter that much though, as Jared will now take up the mantle of Leafy's job, pushing out one of the members of Honored Ones and not letting them tick down that penalty past 30. Looks like they're only 1 point in the lead as both these teams are quite evenly matched.
Very strong double from Leafy. This 3 go down on the side of Honored One. My bad. Continue.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. Strikes come out on the side of Jackpot, just trying to lock Honored Ones into their spawn. 1 goes down, 2 goes down on the side of Honored Ones, as Jackpot ends up now finally taking through that entire penalty. Madness just rushing forward, Leafy and Jared just rushing forward. 2 down on the side of Jackpot, as now Honored Ones has finally broken out of spawn, pushing into that zone, painting that square beautifully, but not capping because of this grab. Finally gets the cap, but at what cost, as 2 of their members go down.
One one player going down on each side. Honorbound is fighting for, or the Honored Ones are fighting for their lives right now. Just trying to neutralize the zone a little bit. The Zipcaster comes out again, trying to pressure that pencil, getting the pick. Unfortunately getting pincered. Two go down on the side of Jackpot, however. But they are not slowing down regardless, as the zone gets capped by the Honored Ones.
We're going into the final minute of this battle here, right? And Jackpot, even though they have an insane lead, they're still going to need to be able to keep this zone locked down. Leafy gets a crazy pick, but Gray is not going to let them get any further. However, for Honored Ones, this is not the best situation because two of their members are down. Just ending up trying to get back into the zone any way they can. There's 15 points left on this penalty now. They need to go if they want to make anything happen.
The timer is just ticking down. They do manage to take back zone, however, and put Jackpot into an even bigger penalty. They do still have a strong chance here, pushing Jackpot back and hopefully getting a few crucial picks. The Stamper gets another pick. The Crab comes out, gets canceled. Jackpot is 2 down. Overtime has begun.
Honored Ones is counting down their actual points of the game. Jackpot is 2 down. They need to make something happen. There's 10 ticks left on the zone before they lose. And Leafy's just getting that Zipcaster in, trying to get their marks in, but they still lose lead. And that is game 2 for Honored Ones. That was incredibly intense, don't you think, Retro?
I agree. Very impressive displays of skill. Just being able to get those crucial picks and push back against the odds. Like, both teams, just amazing plays, amazing picks. Just, again, down to the wire, like we've seen so much. And it's... Oh...
You can see that both teams are very seasoned, right? Like, these guys, they've had their time to warm up, right? They've had their time to fight against people who they are on pretty decent even skill level, right? And these guys, they're just going to be going back and forth and back and forth. And back we go to Marlin Airport here, which seems to be Jackpot's go-to counter pick.
It's really interesting to see because Marlin in itself, like, when it came out, I don't think a lot of people talked about it very much, but obviously as the game goes on, you learn more and more and more, and you develop, like, ways to play around map geometry and all that, and I feel like these top level teams just, they do it quicker, obviously. They know how to navigate, and they know how to learn effectively and efficiently, because you have to know how to adapt like that in order to win. And it's just Marlin as a counter pick, Marlin zones in particular, it's just interesting to see, in my opinion.
All right, and we're going into this game. Marlin is just so much. We're seeing actually Screen come out on the side of Jackpot. We have Foil Squeezer versus... So it looks like maybe they might be trying to deal with the range problem here because Gray is actually insane on this Rapid Pro here. An early pick on the side, on both sides actually, as both teams are just going to be trying to get in that zone. Honored Ones does get first cap of the zone though, ends up going down unfortunately as Jackpot, this is their zone to have, and that zone they do take.
Immediately being able to push to their fan, but unfortunately getting picked off as well, going 2 down on the side of Jackpot. The Honored Ones can push back in here, however, Jackpot is just keeping a very strong hold on zone as well. Not really getting staggered in the slightest as the zone is neutralized again, but also capped again. The screen goes out on their fan, giving them a lot of space to move up and just take over.
I'm really enjoying the way Jared in specific is trying to lock down the zone. Gets crazy good picks, pops that screen on their fan, right? And they're able to, right, stop Honored Ones temporarily for a moment, getting into that zone. That being said, they are able to get back into that zone. and Honored Ones are actually able to lock down the zone, lock down Jackpot's fan, and the fan is really the #1 place you want to be on this map. Is if you control the enemy's fan, you can control the pace of the game pretty well.
I agree, and I'd just like to point out the double the Rapid got on the Honor One side. Like, just really getting those crucial picks that allowed them to move up so far. Like, incredible, like, oh.
Looks like
Zara's
actually gets a key pick on Leafy here. Ends up unfortunately going down to .Q in this zone, as now Jackpot is in control of the fan, pushing Honored Bounds all the way back. And Honored Bounds is gonna have to be able to build a cooler and build retake in order to get back in. We have the whale coming out, we have the cooler coming back. But on the other side, Jackpot is going to Zipcaster just to try and throw Honored Ones off kilter, as they're able to get that zone down to below 30, which means anyone's last ditch is going to start kicking in full force.
The Honored Ones, however, are able to take back the zone and get a good hold on Jackpot's fan, as their splash is painting, or yeah, their zap is painting around, my bad, and gets cooler on their fan as well. Jackpot is not letting up, however, like, just sticking together for the most part, getting a decent pick on one of them, forcing the Honored Ones a little bit further back.
Jackpot now has control of their fan again. Moving forward, getting into mid, Scar goes down, and it looks like Zara's actually gets a crazy pick on Madness, pushing back onto their fan, grabbing Leafy, picking them off, just making sure, hey, Jackpot, you're not allowed to have this area, because this is our area. And, you know, ticking down that penalty, it's going to be huge for them. Looks like the screen does come out, though, and it looks like it's only 2 up for the side of Honor Bound. So it might not be a good situation, and they might even be camping Zara's jump.
Multiple picks going from either side in mid right now. Like, so many people going down, so many picks, just whales getting popped everywhere. Double whale, lots of pressure right now on the side of Jackpot.
Yeah, the Jackpot doesn't control their fan just yet, so it looks like they're actually just going to be trying to hold mid as best they can. One side down on either side, and as I say that, the timer on the penalty is over. Jackpot is getting back in that zone. 2 on that down on the side of Jackpot, so Honored Ones gets that zone, and deservedly so. .Q is forced back by just the insane amount of pressure players like Gray are just putting out. Ends up unfortunately going down, but that doesn't mean that they can get their fan back. That cooler especially is going to allow the players on Honored Ones to just be able to hold, and hold they do, as Oviedo gets this fan, gets a double, and forces the last person back to spawn. Looks like lead is going to swap in just a few moments. I don't know if Jackpot can get back into zone, Retro.
It is really crucial for them to be able to take that cap, and unfortunately they do not manage to get it as their pencil goes down. Zone is just not neutralized in time or capped.
And now it looks like game 2 goes to is that game 4 actually? Goes to Honored Ones?
That was game 4 actually. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that was game 2? Okay, yeah, we're 2-2. Okay, so that's game 4. So we are going to another game 5 for this set. Every single match we've looked at today, Retro, has been back-to-back. Game 5 after game 5 after game 5. Like, now, though, Jackpot has the ball in their court because they have to be the ones to counterpick. And they have to pick a map that they know that they are going to win 100% of the time.
What do you think they'll pick? If you have any idea.
Oh, well, see, Mahi Zones was already picked, right? So, obviously, you know, I feel like Mahi Zones is always the game 5, so because it's already been there. Oh, actually, we have Umami Zones. This is the first time I think you and I have seen a game with Umami Zones in it, so this is going to be very interesting. Umami is...
Oh, sorry, continue.
Umami is a map where... because Marlin, you control the pace of the game by standing on the fan. In Umami, instead of having like the ability to hold choke that easily, the nearest choke to a zone is essentially right in the enemy's spawn, right by that round, right there. So both teams are just going to be vying for control of that spot, and it's extremely dangerous because there's just so many routes out of spawn to be able to easily deal with it.
I agree, but as we've seen from both of these teams so far, they seem to be able to just go in most of the time zero issues, or just resulting in a complete bloodbath on either side. So it's going to be extremely interesting to see, as they do end up sticking with double whale on the side of the Honored Ones, getting a strong initial push. One side ends up going to Jackpot.
Right? It's exciting to see because now Jackpot, I believe, is actually on the back foot here as Honored Ones gets that initial zone cap, ticking down this timer pretty far. But Madness is going to take control of this top mid, not letting Obito, you know, throw them off. They have strikes ready, so they're able to take control of this situation anytime they want. Whale will come out on the side of Honored Ones as strikes come out too. Obito is just trying to, you know, make the best of this play as they end up sharking, getting one, getting two, just taking control of this zone, and it's a scrap, right? Like, they're moving forward. You know, Honored Ones is getting back their top mid that they want and they feel as though they deserve, and Jackpot is trying to force them off of it.
The cooler comes out on the side of the Honored Ones, and as they are pushed fairly far back as two go down on the side of the Honored Ones. However, Madness does get picked off. Jackpot does have a stronghold on mid right now and is trying to go for that initial choke. Wipe! Wipe on the side of the Honored Ones as Jackpot is now allowed to push back a little further. Unfortunately, going 3 down, just really displaying the risks of trying to push that choke.
Right, and back they come in though with a delicious cooler back into top mid, just holding out that left side, you know, trying to get these zones. Like, what they want to do here right now is they want to lock down zone, and as I say that, even though they're going numbers down, this zone is still not capped for either side.
And despite the Honored Ones going 3 down, that Gal was able to hold their ground for a little bit longer, just making sure that Jackpot didn't get as much space as they possibly could have.
Right? Honored Ones needs to go in as soon as possible. Whale comes out. They are now locating all the members of Jackpot, pushing forward. They need to paint the square, and they just can't make it there as Jackpot takes an easy, quick game 5 from Honored Ones. That was an incredibly intense set, and just goes to show the power of counterpicking, right? If the ball's in your court and you know you have to pick a map, you have to win. If you pick that map, you know that you're going to be saying, okay, here's my game plan, and they executed that perfectly.